Yeah, we'll just wait for Rama to join us. But I guess, out of sheer respect for those of you who are here, at the last leg of today's proceedings, we will actually start our discussion now, right? And we have 35 minutes for ourselves. So the subject is interesting. It's basically about safety and sustainability. And I guess it's an interesting panel we have. We have someone from basically an oil or let's say energy company, okay, getting into the space of electric mobility through the charging infrastructure. Okay, we've got someone, Karthikeyan, who they are a startup. Okay, they have a very interesting proposition in the form of their electric motorcycle, the T30. The T30, okay. Karthikeyan is from Rapti. And then we have Rama Shankar Pandey. Rama is an old hand when it actually comes to the subject of safety. He also heads the FICCI subcommittee on road safety. He's been a great champion of safety over all these years. And there he is. He's finished with his call.
Sorry for that.
Welcome aboard, Rama. Come. Okay, so we have an interesting subject which is safety and sustainability, obviously in the context of future mobility. So I'll start off with one common question to all the three of you. Okay, we can start off with Rama and then Sandeep and then Karthikeyan, which is with increasing regulations on safety, especially when it comes to mobility today and mobility tomorrow, does that actually impact business sustainability for the industry and also for specific manufacturers? Rama, starting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, for leading this, moderating this session. Very close to, I think, some of our life goal that can we actually see reduction in road crash. When it comes to business case for safety, sorry to say, but the situation is not as rosy because the buying criteria in consumer mind was not safety for a long time. At least since 1.5 decades, I was also trying my best in my own company and the other companies, but people to pay for little extra money or premium on safety was very difficult. But a lot of good news coming recently, I can see post NCAP, because NCAP is one major change in approach, which is less about forced regulation for safety. It is more about your choice. Unlike all other regulation before you might have seen, is always mandatory regulations. NCAP is not mandatory. NCAP is mandatory to tell what it is. It is just a transparency of safety. Now this is a game changer because this puts the ball back into the court of the customer, because now customer cannot complain that I am forced with these safety gadgets. And this is making a big change emotionally for him, that it is his decision or her decision. Now what I saw recently again, there is a survey done. This was yesterday, I think, in Economic Times, that safety is becoming a criteria. I don't know who did this study. I could not deep dive, but I was very happy to see this in a very large coverage on this topic, that safety is bringing back people post NCAP. So as of today, yes, but if you look at overall sustainability and safety, people do talk about it. There is a lot of discussion, they need it, but are they ready to pay for it was always a question mark, which is changing. I tell you, when I wanted to change the truck's tail lights because people go under the bonnet, that tailgating accident, and people were not ready to pay 50 rupees extra. It was that bad situation then. And my company was again on the verge of bankruptcy. It was so difficult because I was so keen to invest into this. I convinced the board, I convinced the whole HELA management, and then it was up to me personally. This was coming, and most of my buyers, especially OEMs buyer, they were not looking at this as because this is for other safety. This is not for you. So if you have a good high beam lights and all, you can at least convince the buyer. But for other safety, this was not coming up. But fortunately, things have changed. Also, I was lucky enough to work with Vinod Dhasri that time, that he also had the shared vision, and we prevailed. Actually, he prevailed on his buyers because this was not part of the program cost and it was not coming up. Especially commercial vehicle was very difficult. Then we went to buses segment, we changed. Then we went to the two-wheeler segment with the LED lamps and all. But I guess situation is really very fast changing now with the debates. And the more, and I think role of people like you also is very important, because when you endorse this, and when the media endorses it, lot of mainstream newspapers are doing it. Times of India, Indian Express, I can see talking about, and how you report is also very important. So do we give some credit to this technology? I think today we have reached a level that India already is at the best of the best regulated company on the safety for the cars. Unfortunately, one of the reasons why business case does not exist is also the overall ecosystem has not moved that way. So the skilling of the driver, the licensing, all the other regulation, other than the vehicle, because it is the road infrastructure and the other. So I leave it to you now that how you forecast it. As of now, I feel there is a small green shoot which has come, but still very disappointing. Whether it will go very fast and we will have a huge business case for this. In fact, I founded a company called Parasafe during the Bharat Mobility, and I'm finding it extremely difficult to convince the investor, the owners of that company. I have a very small stake there. It's not easy. It's still very, very. So we brought many things like simple harness for the two-wheeler children. Who cares for it as of today? You know, the helmet, children helmets. And we said we actually rope in Chota Beam just to make it more popular, but I'm finding it extremely difficult as of now.
Sandeep, what's your take on this subject of, does increasing safety standards, does it actually make business sustainable?
Okay, I think that's a very, it's a very interesting, sidestepping two things which are actually on the other side of each other. So there are 2-3 ways I'll talk about this. Number one, I think the word sees safety in a very different context than from the people in, I would say, the global south, the developing countries. Most people in India, and I would focus on India because that's where we are, do not feel the need to pay for safety. There was a very, in the previous panel, there was an argument in which it was said that we have to always put up a rule to say that if you have to buy petrol, then you have to take a helmet. And we all know that helmet पहनने के बाद पेट्रोल लेने के बाद वो बाहर जाके helmet उतार देता है. Now that is I mean, whose safety are we talking about? So it is my safety, it is my family's safety, but I still choose to compromise. We do not go 50 meters to take a U-turn. We would rather take 400 meters on the wrong side. So I think the safety consciousness in the country really has to go up. There is a, I take Uber so many times, like most of us. I always insist that I use the seat belt on the back seat. And when I sometimes find that I'm not able to, that clutch is not being able to access. So I ask the guy, isko theek karo bhai. So he says, no, it is not required. It is not required. Boss, I need it. He thinks it's only because of the rule that safety is. So I think we are not keen to pay for safety, but I'm feeling that there is a certain strata of society beyond which the people have started getting concerned about safety and they are okay paying for it. Fortunately, if you see a lot of cars, I mean, we talk about generally in the context of cars, people start paying for safety because the difference between the entry level vehicle and the slightly higher level vehicle which has got more safety features is not much. And not much when it comes to the EMI per month. Even if the car cost is 1 lakh rupees more, it actually boils down to 2,000 rupees per month, so people find it's okay, let me pay for this safety. So I think people have started becoming conscious. And when I come to the context of e-mobility, there are 3 clear pillars that I would identify as the safety. in the e-mobility because that's where we are transitioning to. Number one is the vehicle and the battery. Number two is the electrical infrastructure. And number three, which most people, you know, sometimes overlook, which is the cyber security. Because, and I'll just take maybe a minute on each. See, in terms of battery, when you have a battery, there were episodes of two-wheelers catching fire few years back. Why doesn't it happen now? Because the government has introduced standards which says that the battery thermal runaway has to, you know, separation of between the cells and all of that has to be XYZ level, and the BMS has to be compliant with this. That one imposition of that rule has suddenly changed the battery from very, very unsafe to an entirely safe setup. And we all know, I mean, the Niti Aayog website says this. You know, when people say that petrol vehicles are more safe or hybrid vehicles are more safe or the electric vehicles are the safest, petrol diesel vehicles are the next best, and hybrid vehicles are the lowest when it comes to safety. But anyways, when I talk about the battery and stuff, so battery recycling, battery safety, battery fire, those kind of things, that is the first priority for a. Second is the electrical infrastructure. When you look at the charging for buses, let's say 240 kilowatt, 360 kilowatt. Now 240 kilowatt is serious stuff. Just to give a perspective for people, you know, general layperson, most households have got less than 10 kilowatt of power connection per house. So there is almost, it's like almost the size of an RWA, one charger. So it is serious stuff. Earthing, the tamper proofing of that vehicle, of that charger, because somebody who doesn't know what this is would just look at the copper and just try and steal it away. So tamper proofing, you know, earthing. So those are the kind of things that people have to be really, really careful. And it cannot be emphasized enough. And finally, when it comes to cyber security, I think all of these vehicles are connected. All the data that goes through them, it's very easy, and today we don't see any instances because there is no need. But there is a chance that somebody will lock your vehicle, you know, through the cyber breach route. So this is something which is a very serious risk, and which now when it comes to sustainability, I think sustainability is also two parts. One is the business sustainability, which currently I think people feel like challenging that discussion that, you know, I would rather be less safe but be sustainable. But I think there are very clearly responsible corporates, and I can say Tata Motors chose to take the route of very high safe vehicles, and they actually pulled along Maruti. If you realize, Maruti used to be 2, 3 NCAP ratings, whereas Tata Motors started with 5, and the customers then started demanding, why don't you give this 5? So I think responsible corporates try to raise the bar and ensure that even if the customer doesn't ask for it, we will give it. Price, no price, it might extract a price in terms of less business, but then so be it. I think that's the place that we belong to as a group, as a company, as a corporate. And secondly, I think all these things have to be done with sustainable business practices. You know, whether it is disposal of batteries or you know, let us say chargers. So those are the things that you know, again, as responsible corporates, we choose to do, irrespective of whatever be the cost. That's the thing that we all owe to the society in general. Yeah.
Interesting. You raised some very, very interesting points, Sandeep, and we'll come to that as part of our discussion. Kartikeya, you know, as the chief technology officer, okay, of a startup, which is making an electric motorcycle like the T30, because you are the boss and you're defining the vehicle and you've got to take the strategic decisions. To you, how did you balance these two factors of safety, making sure your vehicle is safe enough, possibly not just meet but maybe also exceed the regulations, And secondly, how did you balance that with the rest of your founders with saying that, no guys, our business will still be sustainable?
I mean, it's a 4 hour debate between us because we are 4 co-founders, and 2 of them is on the CEO and CEOs on the operations side, and the CPO and CTOs we are on the technical side, and mostly we'll fight with, for the safety features because again, a lot of features can be added in safety, but again, how much of it is useful for the customers and how much what they perceive in terms of they can able to pay for it. The debate goes on, but ultimately what we think is it makes our business sustainable. For example, before thermal runaway, stringent rules came, we started the design 2 years before that, and we knew this is gonna be a problem, and we wanted to do something about it. So we are so focused on making sure that it is safe. And after the amendments kick in, most of the businesses that we are doing CKD, they went off. We were able to survive because we focused on safety, implementing in the first, because whenever the rule changes, we need to be there first to adapt it, and so that our business can be survive. Even today, I think ABS are becoming mandatory for even scooters. So from the customer perspective, we had quite a few interactions with close customers in terms of cost, what they are willing to pay, as long as it's within 10 to 20% margin. And if they are educated well and they aware of what these things can bring as a safety to them, they are willing to pay. Only if we price it very high, they are not convinced that this is required for them, so they don't want to bypass it. So we believe to some extent we fight with others to ensure our product is safe, since especially ours is in a high voltage architecture. We want to ensure a lot of failure points needs to be addressed first. So we want to make sure it is available there, even if there is amendment or not, if there is rules or not. We want to ensure the customer is safe and the product is safe, so that it is sustainable for more than 10 years. So I mean, as a startup, we firmly believe safety to can make our business sustainable for a longer period of time.
Okay, this is a very interesting take, Karthik, and what you said, that irrespective of whether there's a regulation or not, we took a call to ensure that our product meets the latest safety standards and requirements. Rama, I'll come to you on that. Should safety be something that is driven by the customer? Because the customer really is, the customer will not specifically come to you and say, I need a safe vehicle. For the customer, a vehicle being safe is almost like a table stake. If you're giving me a vehicle, it has to be safe, it has to be reliable, it has to be efficient, it has to be durable. Okay, which is why I buy your product. Okay, so safety as a mandate, should it actually be driven by the government, which is the regulator, or should it be responsibly driven by the industry and the manufacturers? Till now, we've always seen it being almost like a one-way traffic, always coming from the regulator, okay, and the industry always playing catch up. Firstly, trying to stall it, quite frankly, lobbying against it, and then playing catch up. So, for the industry also to be sustainable, can it continue like this, or does it actually have to change sometime?
As you rightly say, so the later is the way forward, because if you see, I did a lot of these, tried to put some regression analysis of when whatever we brought, did it really reduce the deaths? Did it really reduce the road crash? There is no empirical evidence as of today that if you look at how the whole, we harmonized all the ECE standards on safety, we got our, I think today if you look at our AIS 140 is really state of the art equal almost. If you look at our now coming up with 162, all the ADAS, with AEB in fact coming in. So the whole regime of regulate and then don't enforce. Because OEMs are easy to enforce, industry is easy to enforce because we have our own responsible behavior. The moment government says something, we all comply as an industry. Automotive is such a hugely compliant industry as such. Our laboratories, the whole ecosystem is so fair, ethical, because I think we are on the top notch. If you look at our quality movement, if you look at our PPM levels, we are proud of that. I think we need to be respected and we have to, this whole team against each other has to get away. Because at the end of the day, it is not fulfilling the purpose. Now why I say it is not fulfilling, I told you before also that even a child, when he gets a choice, he likes it. When the child is given, even as parent, when we force something, you have to go to engineering, you have to do this, you have to do that, maybe for the benefit of that child. But come on, if the person is not choosing, he will not use it. I tell you one example again from my own experience of headlamps. We all complain that we run on high beam from the opposite side. A lot of death happen, glaring and all that. In fact, in many cases, the person opposite me is not on high beam, he is on low beam. But he has not been educated or he has not been told that they have to use this switch of 0, 1, 2, 3, which hardly people know. So with a simple weight imbalance, your vehicle will tilt and it goes, because even 0.01 degree makes hell of a difference. It becomes a high beam. Now you paid for it, it's already standard, every vehicle has it, you don't have to really additionally do anything, but you just need, if you choose it, because the biggest thing about choosing is you educate yourself. You have the options. And in that option, you invest some time for it. Now, without investing time, you want them to invest money because everything costs money. So, the regime of regulate, not able to enforce, because the moment you come to aftermarket, you'll be surprised to know that one way we are telling so much of mandatory, aftermarket has zero mandatory rule today. Can you imagine? So if my headlamps today, and look at, I was struggling in my company when I was trying to get a AR, AI, COP type approved headlamps, 80-90% of the market was running without those standards. So, and I was fighting for this standard. Even till date I'm fighting for it because there's in fact in the new road safety bill, we fought for it. I got so much with Mr. Bandyopadhyay, then JS. We got it in the road safety bill, but the rule has not come even today. Because most of my discussion with government always came is, पांडे जी इसको enforce कैसे करेंगे? और enforce नहीं करेंगे तो regulation कैसे लेके आएं? So I think everybody has concluded, if regulation cannot be enforced, if there's no deterrence of enforcement, क्या फायदा? Helmet ISI is already enforced, already regulated, but where's the enforcement? So this regime, we have to just accept it. हम बहुत कर लिए, कितने ट्रैफिक पुलिस और कितना कैमरा लगाएंगे? So Delhi has got 7 million challans, and hardly 2-3% is also not paid. तो क्या फायदा? The other day I was talking to the traffic DCPs of different region of Delhi. Everybody is, we have to just accept it, call it a lie, that this is not going to work, that you regulate very high, but you're not able to enforce. Because OEMs are enforceable, you just, with one letter you can do. So that is, let's, bell the cat, the difficult part, which is with choice. And that is where the second regime, where you assist and alert the vehicle owners. You alert them, you educate them, and then they choose. So I am fan of this NCAP philosophy, where you tell customer will invest time. Then when he goes to discuss in the dealership, he will ask. So I am fully supportive of what you said, the later part, because the first part has not paid anything to us till now in terms of the reduction of road crash. The beauty of the second part is then he will use it. So when he buys helmet by conviction, then he knows the pain of it. When somebody is pushing, it's like our own children, if you push them without them getting convinced, they will not behave because it is not, they are not having a faith in that. So safety has to get that leadership faith, the consumer. So I just end it here, Avik, that this is a huge support from my side and many of our industry people, that this blindly getting into this regulate and not able to enforce is not going to pay us. Let's all come together and make this ecosystem of awareness, give choice to the customer, because if you don't make a rhythm of this, vehicle, today look at the car, inside accident has come down, Why do you want more and more there? Your actual death is pedestrian, your actual death is two-wheelers. Two-wheelers is the most vulnerable guys now. So if the pedestrian and two-wheelers guys are dying, what are you doing about that? What is happening in the area of skilling, in the area of the driving behavior, which is huge topic, and the road, every road you do an audit and you'll know that every kilometer is not, IRAP rating will come like 0, 1. And it is not worth driving. So the safety furniture, the safety infrastructure for the IRC itself is not enforced. If you look at any audit we got it done, the IRC standards are not enforced. So I think we have a huge problem at hand, and we cannot make it so simple that one gadget notification to OEMs and you say, okay, the road crash is going to come down and the death is going to come down. It's not that easy, and that's why I will choose for the later, Avik. Sorry
Yeah,
for
and I guess that is why I guess Mr. Gadkari also realizes and he admits today that it has been one of the targets which has never been able to meet. And I come to you, Sandeep, on that, because Rama raised these two things of enforcement and education. Okay? Now, you are in the area of what I would call the ecosystem. Yeah? Safety cannot happen, and safety cannot be sustainable unless you build the ecosystem. So, for your organization, which till say a few years back has been the traditional oil and gas company, okay, getting into the ecosystem, what have been the challenges that you faced and how have you tried to circumvent them?
Okay, so to me, it's not about whether oil and gas transition to e-mobility. I think it's true for every corporate or every organization which is there in the EV ecosystem. This is a domain in which everybody is learning. That is one. Secondly, any significant corporate worth its salt has to have some practices. For example, I was working previously for Tata Power, which is a power company which has got very strong safety policies. Similarly, in the previous organization, GOBP, it's a petroleum company, strong safety policies. So I guess if there is a safety culture inbuilt into the organization, it is not very difficult for it to be transitioned into any new domain that the person enters. So it's about safety in general. If I go abroad, I just put the safety belt on in the car when I sit in the back seat. When I come to India, I do the same. And if I don't get to do the same, I feel very uncomfortable. Why? Because there is a safety culture that has been built in. And when it comes to the thing that you just mentioned, see, the government and the corporates are a reflection of the society that we live in. So, by and large, they will follow the society. If the society is not, just give an example, there are so many state transport buses running in the rural areas. How safe are they? I mean, you really feel that you get on to the first step and the bus might just disintegrate. Those are the kind of things, but it is running. And what is the government's compulsion? Government's compulsion is they cannot increase the price. So I think there is a very strong balance that is required between core safety issues and that balance, somebody has to take up the responsibility. And the responsibility is, both, I would say. Government has to do what it is supposed to do. For example, the rule that is all vehicles have to have airbags. Good. Now that is an imposed rule. Enforcement, it is very easy to do it through the OEM. But the moment you go through the public, it's not going to be easy. See, you mentioned 7 million did you say, challans? Yeah, huge. And the biggest culprit is who? The most vulnerable, you said, is pedestrian and two-wheeler. Now tell me, who is the biggest culprit also in these? These are the two people. Everybody crosses the road without any signal, no nothing. Because they say, God resides in India. So, two-wheeler just coming on the wrong side. So I think the balancing has to be done. Government imposes a rule. Good corporates put their own practices in order. They increase the bar, and then generally one by one, slow and slow, the bar starts increasing, and then the people also start realizing because this is not worth it. I mean, unfortunately, the human life is very low cost in India, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, because I mean, it's not very difficult to enforce some small silly disciplines. But I think those are the kind of things that the challenge that you also just mentioned. If there are 7 million challans and 3% are paid, I mean, where is the enforcement? We have got cameras, so security cameras, right? Safety speed cameras. When people approach the cameras, they slow down. And as soon as they finish the cameras, the speed increases. Now, how difficult is it to just follow the consistent speed? So I think it's a culture thing. Somebody has to enforce it, as well as, I would say, responsible corporates have to go up and increase the bar. That is the only way it has happened. Anywhere else, see, I mean, we were traveling abroad just few weeks back. It is the same everywhere. If you do not have enforcement, people tend to just fritter away. There also, there was a speed camera. As soon as the speed camera is approaching, people slow down. After that, 110, 120. So they do all of that. So there is no, I mean, we tend to put down India, saying that, you know, Indian, but largely this is a behavior anywhere. The difference is, as you very correctly mentioned, enforcement is it. Photo ले लेंगे, camera ले लेंगे, and वहाँ पे बैंक से सीधा डेबिट कर लेंगे. यहाँ पे वो प्रॉब्लम है ना, 3% कैसे होएगा? नहीं तो. So I guess, yeah, one line answer, responsible corporates have to step up the game, and government has to keep up with the requirements of the society. Only then the safety standards will go up. Otherwise, all the best.
Interesting. Karthikeyan, coming to you, you know, being a startup, what role do you think does AI, or let me say actually generative AI play? What role does generative AI play in enforcing, or at least in incorporating higher safety standards in a vehicle? For example, typically in a two-wheeler, or did it play any role when you guys were designing the T30?
Yes, mostly in two parts, as well as first in the mechanical part, as well as in the technology part. First, when we started the design, as a startup, getting to know all the safety standards is like going through a maze. So I think there, most probably, getting curated points from the AI help. Plus, we started when we started development, I think generative AI was almost there, and we immediately started utilizing it. Right from our alloy wheels to our swing arms, we had quite few challenges when it comes to designing it manually, because we are not able to get it past the regulatory standards. It was keep on failing. So we couldn't able to with a very fresh team, identifying the problem was a bigger challenge for us. So then we started using generative AI to kind of understand where are the stress points and where we need to add materials and how we can optimize the design. So because once you know what is the problem, then it is easy to fix. Finding the problem it takes experience, but as being a startup, that is rarely available for us. There I think AI kind of helped us. In terms of the technology side, right from software development, initially software testing need experienced people to go through unit testing and other software testing parts, but that requires an expertise of more than 10 years or more than 15 years, especially in automotive segments. But with AI, we can just given all our requirements, then it kind of gives us almost all the testing conditions for for our software to go through. So this bridges the gap, where the knowledge that we need to gain through experience, we can able to collectively get in few weeks by repetitively going through the same process and again, and then the biggest question is the person who is going to sit and work on it need to ask the question why. You cannot blindly take the answers. Always you need to ask the questions why it is failing, why the AI is giving me this answer. So this kind of helped us to develop our skills for our employees, but also output maximum safety while on the design stage itself. So AI kind of helped us in bridging this gap.
And is it a process of continuous improvement? I mean, it
Yeah.
never ends, right? I mean,
It never
it's like
ends.
Kaizen, just keeps
Yes.
going on and on and on.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you actually find that generative AI is keeping up with what's really happening, not only in India but across the world? Gives you the right prompts, gives you the right inputs?
Yes. Again, it is from that part is also it's a continuous improvement, right? Even the softwares is also they are continuously improving. We have new solvers. We have new physics solvers, and every quarter we are getting a new resolvers and updated ones which can have more accuracy in terms of prediction. So the data that it is kind of a cycle, right? We do the simulation, we get the data back and feed it back into the system, and now the system is like model is improved with its improved accuracy. You get another new set of data. Again, back and back, your model is getting more accurate, so that the predictions becomes more reliable. Uh,
Just one more bit, I mean, just half a minute on that. You know, the startup ecosystem, I guess one way it can actually be, the startup ecosystem can be sustainable is when you guys live in an ecosystem or in an atmosphere of collaboration. Do you guys collaborate or are you always competing with each other?
Finally,
No. Say, I mean, is like a Rapti always competing with an Aether and an ultraviolet and a this and a that? Or are there certain subjects on which you guys actually get together? So all you CTOs get together, discuss things out, exchange ideas, exchange inputs, and then go back to your own competitive workspaces.
I mean, I've been like in Rapti for 6 years. It's a very new thing, so I think collaborative efforts are very less because everybody has their own, kind of technology they don't want to reveal because they want to build up, platform first because we need to survive, right? We need to be sustainable, then we can help others. Everybody is in the survival race. So I think in these early stage, I think collaboration is very less. But maybe in the future we can collaborate. Yes.
Okay. Sandeep, coming to you again. Sorry, our time is up, but we'll just take 1 minute each from each of you. Just the way there is, and as Rama also spoke about, a higher awareness level of safety now in the average vehicle buyer, right? Maybe driven by the kids or whoever, friends, ecosystem, the media, whatever. Do you think there needs to be a similarly higher awareness of sustainability? Which is like, I mean, for example, in a place like Delhi, if I have to come here, I need not bring my car. I can actually park it at Sikandarpur metro station, take the metro, get off at Patel Chowk and just walk down here. But no, I want to bring my car because my ego tells me I have to drive down in my car.
I have very strong views on that subject. It is not necessarily driven by the organization that I work for, but as a common citizen. So, see, I think, and I can be reasonably sure on this, nobody will do things which are sustainable if they are not cost effective and efficient to do. Nobody is buying electric vehicles because there is zero tailpipe emissions. They are buying it because it suits them. We have heard panel after panel. It suits them. There is a cost of ownership which is lower. The vehicle which is a delight to drive, good acceleration, no noise and all of that. I'm not doing it because there is no tailpipe emission. Well, yeah, I get that, fantastic. I'm not going to go from here to, let's say, Gurgaon by changing 3 metro trains. Though I know it is sustainable, right? I would rather take the car. And I'll explain to myself that, I'm driving an electric car, so bhaiya, now I'm sustainable. So I think very clearly as a common citizen, my answer is, I will not do anything for sustainability if it does not suit my wallet, if it is not efficient, and if it is not good. I mean, we have all seen Blue Smart, right?
Yeah.
Blue Smart was a fantastic case, right? Unfortunately, for whatever reasons, they've gone under. A lot of people say that Blue Smart was very good because they were electric and they were contributing to the zero tailpipe emission and zero carbon emissions and all of that. No, I don't think so. The only thing that they offered big was no cancellation and fantastic cars. was you run it on coal, I will still take Blue Smart. Yeah, how do I care? Because it is so convenient. They do not cancel. They do not have surcharges, and the cars were neat. That is the business model. Whether you run on electric, whether you run on koila, doesn't matter.
Got your answer. Okay, ruthlessly frank, which is what I like.
Yes,
Rama,
please
your
don't-
last minute.
please
And
don't
when I
put
say
it in
minute,
the-
it's just 1 minute.
Please don't put it in
I think I
No,
will.
no, no. What I'm going to ask you is, given this actual, this very clear and realistic state of affairs, do you think people today and tomorrow will actually choose brands over others which are not just safer but are more sustainable?
I think we have to, I a little differ from what we just heard regarding direct incentives. I believe it needs somewhere a tipping point, which is more like a movement to be cool, because brands are a intangible impression. So how, when it will get connected, sustainability with brands, which can make it cool for people, I think we just have to remove the stoppers. Now, I would like to go this way more, that removing stoppers, this movement can come in, is my hope. Because there are many people who would love to get there, and I would like to also motivate Karthikeyan, like, though you have not made your CTO club and all, but believe me, there are some problems which can only be solved by the ecosystem. What he just said, safety and sustainability, and I'll tell, because I worked a lot in safety, I have seen that whatever is your secret formula, it's all okay. But keeping them, you can also build an open innovation with that as your objective without much on the table. You don't have to put lot on the table, just coming together. And because we are not coming together, government will come with its own intervention without the technical knowledge, and then we suffer. Many cases this has happened. So, and government wants lot of inputs, which as an industry body, sometime at ACMA, I worked there, on many forums there, and I suffer that I hardly get deep tech, not your technology or IP, I'm talking about deep tech solutions for the ecosystem problem. At the same time, within the industry, like you said, the leadership decides on the culture. I have the belief that the whole problem of both safety and sustainability will be solved through the corporate and businesses, because if they take care of their employees, their HR handbook, their HR engagement, their supplier policies, and their customer, USPs, if this is aligned on this too, so that the larger decision maker, the aware decision makers will have a choice, just like a ESG movement, like investors did it. So large investors said, I give you money, and I give you only when you follow this. Similarly, customer can have that choice, and I as a customer, as a company, with my suppliers. And then with employee, I can use my HR lever. So with this 3 lever itself, more or less everybody is employed by us. Maybe tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So if you can, trigger that, and in India, you can do anything for your boss, for your HR, everybody is scared of, because it's an employer market. So because it's an employer market, use it for positive. And to get it there for the first movement to happen, I still believe it may happen with this route, what you just said, responsible businesses.
I completely agree, but as a disclaimer, I can say, see, safety and sustainability do not offer benefits immediately. Both are, you have to invest and you get the benefits in the long term. So in both cases, for safety and sustainability, the government and the corporates have a responsibility to take the ladder up for the general public to follow. I mean, what I was saying as a response to the question that you asked, as a common citizen, is what I said. But I think there is a clear responsibility. When you said brands, see, electric vehicle has got that green number plate. Now that, वो गाड़ी में बैठ के ना लगता है मुझे शान लगती है. So that is what I'm getting, na?
Yeah.
So I'm getting something in return for sustainability. Really speaking, sustainability not top of my agenda, because it is green number plate. मेरे लिए एक badge of honor है.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So as we wrap up, we've overshot, and I think we're going to be thrown out of the hall very soon also. So, yeah, so safety and sustainability are 2 issues which I would say are higher on Maslow's need hierarchy, right? Yes. It's for a more evolved, a more self-conscious, and a more mature and responsible society, which all of us hope to be a part of. Rama, Sandeep, Karthikeyan, thank you so much for your time. Thanks to Nilesh and the entire team for being patient, and thanks to each of you for being patient with us through the entire day. Thank you very much.
I'll request everyone to kindly come join us on the center stage for a group photo, and then I'll request Avik to kindly hand over the certificate of appreciation to each.